G'day, it's Fran Davidson, psychicandenergywork.com.au, and this is part 2 of my monthly observations for October 2025. Part 2 is always looking at the birth number for the month. Every month comes with a birth number. If you're looking at the Western calendar, January, February, March, etc., January is the first month, therefore the birth number is 1. In October, therefore, the birth number is 10. This month is a 10-1 month every year. Right? But interestingly, and bear with me, every month carries 2 levels of dynamic. The dynamics that come every time the month comes round, but also the dynamics that emerge as a result of this month partnering up with this year, 2025. So this October presents us 2 10-1s. Not exactly, but generically, every year October brings 10-1 as the birth number. In 2025, we also see 2035, 25 plus 10, which also reduces to 1 through the 10 dynamic. So that is interesting because, first of all, as I'm saying on my website, so please go through to the monthly observations page, because in each section about last month, about the birth number, the MO, the reality number, I add extra information to what I'm describing here. So therefore, merging the 2 realms can probably add a bit more value. That being said, 10-1, let's come back to that. 1, of course, is the first step in the numerological cycle, which is 1 through to 9. At the very beginning of creation, it's actually 0 through to 9. But then on after, it is just 1 to 9. So 1 is a time when we feel ready to get going again. And that's interesting in itself because, of course, September is when spring hits in half of the globe. It's also where autumn hits in another. It's change of season. It's also when the equinox ticks over, as in September towards the end. So therefore, October comes, and because of that, and bear with me, also you have Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur happening at this time, and that can be quite a major calendar and energetic shift, irrespective of the philosophies or religions or systems that you follow. So, because of these things, October can often feel like it's time to start again. It's time to get going, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere experiencing spring. So, 1 zone, irrespective of the season, often feels like this. It often feels like a time where, you know what, I've got the energy to get going again. You know, things I've just let go of things, I've just sorted things, and now I'm ready. I'm ready to continue. However, 1 is an interesting time because, in a sense, whilst 1 is very much the start of the cycle, it can also manifest as a time when the universe says, yeah, I want beginnings starting, but they need to start on a conceptual, on a perceptual, on an energetic level first. And of course, that's where manifesting springs from. So therefore, 1 periods can be a time that, in one sense, they don't necessarily stop us, but they can hold us back from just getting going. Yeah. 1 periods, therefore, can feel a bit frustrating because I'm ready to go, but life keeps slowing me down, obstructing my ready to get going in a way that can be a wee bit frustrating. Now, one of the ways that this can happen is, of course, through the human realm. One aspect of 1 on a human level is very much what level of self are you channeling, enabling, encouraging, putting up with, witnessing, learning through right now. Broadly speaking, 2 levels of self, the divine, and the egoic. The divine is big picture, the egoic limited, in a box, can only see as far as it knows, and yet is so very confident about that it often draws the limits on other people and for itself to those confines. Whereas divine self, or universal wisdom, which is one and the same, is very much a dynamic and a wavelength, a reality where there is always more to see, there's always more to step into, there is no end of possibility, manifesting is just flow, there is no impossibility, there's no stuckness, no limit, any of those things. And yet, of course, as human beings in the world that we are in, we often butt up against fence lines and obstacles, opinions, other as well as ourselves, as frustrators, as complicators, as veritable stops in flow or manifesting. So what I'm trying to highlight there is don't be surprised if this month throws up themes like this for you to look at, not because life is trying to say, sorry, that's all it is. That's as far as you can get. There is no potential beyond this point. But you see, one is very much let go of all self, so as even to see where you might be holding on to, embracing, getting caught up with, even being projected at, not necessarily consciously, in a way that thwarts or limits what you can sense and therefore what you can allow in and out of you as well as around you. One is very much I, me, my. And of course, there are so many different versions of that. On the egoic level, therefore, one periods ask us to let go of all I, me, my, not because we devalue those stances. Spiritual energy work, spiritual living is never about dismissing other, because everything exists. But at the same time, we don't need to go to war with it, even though we do, even if that's only in the mind, yeah? Because this month has 2 10 ones, you see, one can be a time that is quite isolating, or at least feels isolating. One analogy I give is the fact that one zones can feel like you are the only speaker of the language that you're using in the room. And even though everybody else speaks that language perfectly as well, and even though you're speaking clearly, doesn't necessarily mean correctly, as in, you're the most right, yeah? But one periods can feel like a time where, you know what, I just said that really well, but nobody got it. Nobody got it. So one, in one sense, of one period can feel like a time that is quite isolating. I'm in it, but I don't fit. I'm in it, but nobody quite gets or quite acknowledges in a way that's just about, it's not about neediness. It's not about, just believe everything that whoever is saying says. Yeah. But it is about the fact that until we can all embrace the other as the I that we are, and therefore the differences we are, and we're only going to do that by letting go of all selfness, all I, me, my to begin with. Until we actually get to that level energetically where there is no more tension and limit, we're not even a place where we can allow new perspectives in. We're not even in a place where we can quality check our foundations, our viewpoints, and therefore we're not even in gear with the possibilities that now presents in a way that could be real flow through. Yeah? Another aspect of one is also that aspect that is about back yourself. Back yourself even if no one else in the room understands you yet. They don't have to understand you right now. You are the only one that has to understand you. And this is really interesting given part 1 video and observations I made in the monthly update for last month, as well as in last month's monthly observations, about the number 4. Because 4 can ask us, are you supporting yourself well enough? Not at the expense of other, but so as to be able to affirm self and other at the same time equitably. Support. What level of support are you receiving? And of course, every so often we can be very inclined to feel as if we need the support of others. We need the endorsement of others to even get ahead. And of course, on one level we do. We have to accept each other. We have to get along. But that doesn't necessarily mean agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean nullifying the difference or uniqueness that life is asking you to be, channel, pursue, follow, honour, respect at this point. So one is very much know yourself, check yourself, come to a place where you are very clear about your stances. You're very clear about how life works with you as an individual being. Not necessarily anybody else, but you. Because when we truly do that, through breath, through letting go, through releasing all I, me, my expectation, we actually come to a point where we are open enough to get the big picture, reintegrate with the big picture, confirm ourselves in that big picture, and then offer and manifest it to a whole new level all over again. So hopefully these words equip you for October. Let me know if you need a hand, if you want to learn about numerology or energy work, or just even have some help intuitively. You can go through to my website, psychicandenergywork.com.au, to the contact page where you'll find my details. All the very best. Travel well. Thanks for tuning in.